Forgive me if I get a little choked up, but I wanted to open myself up to you in the hopes that this can maybe motivate you at some point in the future. It's a story that I've never really told many people, so hopefully you enjoy it. I'm telling you the story of why I'm afraid to fly.
Same here, MatPat's.
So it was the summer of 2006. I was just graduated, or not graduated, I had just finished my freshman year of college and was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to study abroad in London, learning about theater. I was a theater and neuroscience double major, two majors that make a whole lot of sense together. Yeah! Theater neuroscience! Dopamine up in this his house! So theater neuroscience double major, I was studying abroad in London on this theater program where over the course of, the 60 days that we were abroad, we saw 30 shows. It was awesome. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I learned so much. And we were nearing the end of this session. We were in our final week, and we were prepping for what I had been looking forward to literally the entire summer, which was a musical theater workshop with professional casting directors from the London theater area, with professional working actors in London's West End. It was like, this is my chance. This is my opportunity to perform in front of people, my art, my craft, in front of people who might give me a job one day. They didn't, but, that was my hope. And so, the day before, it was 2 days before we left, and we kind of had a practice workshop. We met the people. That whole night, I was like warming up my song, like, why God, why today? All that. I've heard that one out a long time. That one has since left my audition repertoire. So I was super excited. So the day of the final performance comes. Right? And it's the day before we leave London. It's the day before we fly back. And we're all really nervous, we're really tense, as you can imagine when you're about to do a really big performance in front of really big professional people. And my professor pulls us aside, pulls the whole class aside and says, hey, before we get started today, I have to tell you something. That earlier this morning, there was a terrorist cell that was arrested. And that they were planning to blow up planes flying between London and the US tomorrow, the day that we were scheduled to fly back. They were planning on smuggling in the bomb materials in soda bottles and water bottles. You know how you can't bring liquids on flights? This is why. And he said, hey, I know we're going into this big performance, there's a lot of pressure going on. I'm sure a lot of you are nervous, but I just wanted you to know that once we're done with that performance, you should call your family, let them know that you're safe, let them know, that things haven't changed, etc. So at this point, it's like, okay, now we got to go on stage and perform. Great, fun. So I did, and it went fine. Like, I did well, if I say so myself. Apparently not well enough to get cast in London West End, but so be it. As you do. I call my family, I clear with them. But as I read into more details about that news story, they had details about what planes had been targeted. And I was supposed to be on one of them. They had the city, they had the departing airport, they had the time of the flight. And it was one of mine. And as you can imagine, the next, and what are you going to do? I can't just camp out and live in London for the rest of my life. It would have been cool, but I can't, I can't not go home the next day. I have to get on board that flight. You can imagine how terrifying. Everyone in the airport was so tense. The lines were 4 times the length because all the security checks were super intense. You couldn't bring baggage on board, all of this stuff. And I specifically remember, I'm like, you know what, if I'm going down, well, damn it, I'm going down hard. And so I brought, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, I brought a white suit jacket, just white, like bright white, not even like a classy color like ivory or anything, with a bright neon blue shirt and like a red tie. I'm like, I'm wearing the red, white, and blue, and I'm gonna do this. The entire 7-hour flight home, I was on super high alert. I watched every single person as they got up and down from their seats. I watched as every single person went up and grabbed some carry-on luggage. I watched every element of what was going on around me because I'm like, if something is going to happen, it's not going to happen on my watch. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I stay safe. And we got back, and I'm here today, and right? Thank you. Yes. And I get to make theory videos now, and I get the job of my dreams now. But to this day, I'm still terrified to get on flights. For hours, days before I fly out to places, I still get worried. And when I tell people that I'm afraid of flying, and don't tell them this story, they're always like, I'm so surprised, Matt, because you fly so much. And I do. I fly all the time. I fly at least once a month. I'm going to New York and San Francisco, here, you know, and it's all part of this idea of not letting fear rule your life. I could stay, like, it is the worst possible experience for me to hop on board a plane. I am nervous and tense the whole time, but it's worth it because life has so much value to it. There is so much excitement, there are so many opportunities, there are so many interesting people and places and things in this beautiful world that we live in, and life is too short to not experience those. And to let you, thank you, yes! Life! And it's one of those things that you can't let fear determine what you do. You can't let fear of failure. You can't let general fear, you can't let fear of embarrassment take over your life. Because in the end, a life like that is not a life worth living. I wouldn't get to do all the amazing things that I get to do. I wouldn't get to see all the amazing fans of our shows. I wouldn't get to be able to hang out with you guys in beautiful places like this. And so that's what I want you to take away from this speech, is that, you know, it sucks to be afraid, and it sucks to put yourself on the line, to do things like go and ask that girl who's out of your league out, or, you know, audition for a show when you don't think that you're able to do it, or, you know, to go up to the teacher and ask for help and admit that you don't know enough about this course and that you need to be better. Or even, like for me, uploading my first video on YouTube where I was worried, like, what are people gonna say? Or doing something different on YouTube. Those are all things that are terrifying for me, for you, for a lot of people, but you can't let fear stop you from doing them. Because you know what? You deserve to live. Thank you. And the reason I wanted to tell you this story today, the reason I was inspired to tell you this story today is I was fortunate enough to be asked to do to grant someone's wish, a make-a-wish wish. Earlier today, or yesterday, it was my first time getting to do it. And, you know, even through all the fears and this and that, I got to meet one of the most exciting, most enthusiastic, loyal theorists out there. His name is Kai, and he's right here in the front row. Here, come on up. Come on up. Give it up for Kai! So anyway, the point of the story, and I see my time flashing, I just wanted you guys to know, like, take that risk. Go out there and seize the day. Seize those opportunities that present themselves to you, because life is too short to live it in fear. Take it from me, who is terrified every time I hop on a plane, but I get to meet all of you, and that's pretty darn special. Thank you, guys.